Did you know that the humble sandwich we all know and love actually originated in Britain? Yes, that's right. British cuisine, often considered simple and straightforward, has a delightful surprise in its repertoire. The sandwich, a staple in our daily lives, is a British invention. But that's not all. The cuisine of Britain is a vast and varied culinary landscape, a testament to the rich history and diversity of the country. So, if you've ever enjoyed a sandwich, you've got Britain to thank for that. But that's just the beginning of the story of British cuisine. The history of British cuisine is as rich and varied as the country itself. Let's take a step back into time, to the early days of Britain. The Romans arrived in Britain in the 1st century AD, and with them, they brought a wealth of culinary knowledge. They introduced a variety of fruits and vegetables such as apples, pears, plums, cherries, and even garlic, which are now staples in the British diet. They also brought with them the art of baking bread, a skill that Britain has since perfected. Fast forward a few centuries and enter the Vikings. The Viking influence on British food is undeniable. They introduced techniques of smoking and pickling, methods still used today to preserve fish and other foods. It's thanks to the Vikings that we have British classics like smoked salmon and pickled herring. Now let's journey to the medieval times, an era that saw the birth of some of the British cuisine's most iconic dishes. This was a time when spices were not just a luxury, but a symbol of wealth and status. Spices like cinnamon, nutmeg, and cloves were used to flavor meats and create rich, aromatic sauces. It's during this period that dishes like the Christmas pudding and mince pies, both heavily spiced, came into existence. The evolution of cooking methods also played a significant role in shaping British cuisine. From open hearth cooking to the advent of the modern stove, each shift brought about a change in the way food was prepared and presented. This evolution has given us a diverse range of dishes, from the hearty Sunday roast to the delicate afternoon tea sandwiches. From the Romans to the Middle Ages, the history of British cuisine is a fascinating journey through time. It's a tale of conquests and invasions, of trade and exploration, all of which have left their mark on the food we know and love today. With each bite, you're not just tasting food, you're tasting history. And what a delicious history it is. Like any great story, the story of British cuisine is one of change and evolution. The story of British food is a tale of adaptation and transformation. From its humble beginnings in the Middle Ages, when meals were simple and practical, British cuisine has been on a thrilling culinary journey, embracing new ingredients, techniques, and influences along the way. In the medieval period, British food was about making the most of what was available. From hearty stews made with local meat and vegetables to pottage, a thick soup of grains, and whatever else could be thrown in, the focus was on sustenance. But as trade routes expanded, new and exciting ingredients began to make their way to British shores. The influence of the spice trade in the 15th and 16th centuries cannot be overstated. It brought a wealth of new flavors to the British palate, from the warmth of cinnamon to the heat of black pepper. These spices were not just used to add flavor, but they were also a status symbol, a display of wealth and power. The Industrial Revolution in the late 18th and early 19th centuries was another turning point. With the rise of the middle class and the advent of railways, food distribution changed drastically. The concept of eating out became more common, and the first fish and chip shops, a cornerstone of modern British cuisine, began to appear. World wars also played a significant role in shaping British cuisine. Food rationing during the wars led to the necessity of creative cooking and a focus on homegrown produce. This period saw the birth of iconic British dishes like the humble Cornish pasty and the comforting shepherd's pie. Over the centuries, British cuisine has evolved, absorbing influences from around the globe, yet still retaining its unique character. Whether it's a Sunday roast, a ploughman's lunch, or a classic Victoria sponge, the essence of British cuisine lies in its variety and adaptability. So from hearty stews to delicate pastries, British cuisine has been shaped by the ebb and flow of history. Scene script. Britain has always been a melting pot of cultures, and this is reflected in its cuisine. Let's start with the Indian influence. It's no secret that Britons have a love affair with curry. Indian cuisine has been intertwined with British food since the days of the British Empire, and it has left a lasting mark. Take chicken tikka masala, for example. This dish, with its rich, creamy sauce and tender chunks of chicken, is often referred to as Britain's national dish. It's a prime example of how Indian flavors have been adapted to British tastes. Moving on to Chinese cuisine, it's hard to ignore its impact on British food. From sweet and sour pork to chow mein, Chinese dishes have become a staple of British takeaways. The influence of Chinese cuisine is seen in the widespread popularity of these dishes and the incorporation of ingredients like soy sauce and five spice into everyday British cooking. Now let's turn to Italy, a country known for its delicious and diverse food. Italian cuisine has had a significant influence on British food, particularly in the realm of comfort food. Think of spaghetti bolognese, a hearty dish that has found a permanent place in British hearts and kitchens. Or consider how pizza, in all its glorious forms, has become a go-to for Brits looking for a quick and satisfying meal. But it's not just about the popular dishes. The influence of these cuisines has also changed the way Britons cook and eat. Indian, Chinese, and Italian cuisines have introduced a wider variety of ingredients, cooking techniques, and flavors to British food culture. From the Indian tradition of layering spices to the Chinese art of stir-frying and the Italian love for fresh, quality ingredients, all these elements have enriched British cuisine, making it more diverse and exciting. Influences from around the world have made British cuisine what it is today, a global feast. But it's not just a one-way street. British cuisine has also left its mark on the world. Think about it, what's more British than fish and chips? This quintessential British dish, with its crispy battered fish and golden chips, has found fans in every corner of the globe. From the bustling streets of Tokyo to the food trucks of New York, the humble fish and chips have made their way into the hearts and stomachs of food lovers worldwide. Then, of course, there's the phenomenon of afternoon tea. Originating in the early 19th century with Anna, the Duchess of Bedford, who felt the sinking feeling during the late afternoon, this meal soon became a fashionable social event. Nowadays, you can enjoy a traditional British afternoon tea complete with scones, clotted cream, and finger sandwiches, whether you're in a luxury hotel in Dubai or a quaint cafe in Paris. But it's not just about these iconic dishes. British cuisine's influence is more subtle and pervasive. It's in the way we use spices, thanks to the British love affair with Indian cuisine. It's in the popularity of pies, from the Aussie meat pie to the American apple pie, a nod to the British pie tradition. Even the simple sandwich, a staple in lunchboxes around the world, can trace its roots back to Britain. Named after John Montagu, the 4th Earl of Sandwich, this convenient food item has evolved from a simple meat between bread to an endless array of variations that showcase different cultures' flavors. And let's not forget about the British influence on brewing. The British introduced the world to the art of brewing, and their ales, stouts, and bitters have inspired craft beer movements across continents. So you see, the impact of British cuisine is far-reaching. It's a testament to the country's rich culinary history and its knack for creating dishes that comfort, satisfy, and endure. From Sydney to San Francisco, you'll find a little bit of Britain in kitchens around the world. So, what have we learned about British cuisine? From the humble origins of hearty stews and pies, British cuisine has evolved into a diverse and vibrant gastronomic landscape. Its history, steeped in the annals of time, has seen the transformation of simple rustic dishes into a cornucopia of culinary delights that appeal to a global palate. We've ventured through the centuries, observing how the cuisine of the United Kingdom has been shaped and reshaped by the influx of flavors from around the world. From the exotic spices of India to the delicate pastries of France, British cuisine has been a melting pot of culinary influences, absorbing, adapting, and innovating. In turn, British food has left its own indelible mark on the world. The iconic fish and chips, the comforting shepherd's pie, the classic afternoon tea. These are but a few examples of British dishes that have traveled far beyond their homeland, captivating taste buds from New York to New Delhi. We've also discovered that British cuisine is not just about the food on our plates. It's about the culture, the tradition, the sense of community that comes with sharing a meal. It's about the warm, cozy pubs, the bustling food markets, the grand tea rooms that are as much a part of the British culinary experience as the food itself. Whether you're a foodie or just someone who loves a good sandwich, there's no denying the impact of British cuisine on our taste buds and our world.